Good morning, everyone.
Happy Monday to you. As I mentioned yesterday in our message, we want to take some time every single day this week just to kind of highlight the different things that Jesus did on each of these days. Yesterday, we saw the triumphal entry and the arrival of Jesus coming into the city, how he was celebrated and welcomed as the promised Messiah. And then he went and did his next task of going into the temple and cleansing the temple, demonstrating his authority by cleaning out the temple. As I also mentioned, he was making this trek back and forth from his safe home base in Bethany, there with Mary and Martha and Lazarus. He'd go there in the evenings and then come back into the city of Jerusalem the next day. And so here on Monday, he is leaving Bethany, coming back into Jerusalem for a second day. And we want to highlight the story of the cursing of the fig tree that's recorded in Matthew chapter 21.
It starts in verse 18. It says, "In the morning, as he was returning to the city, he, Jesus, became hungry. And seeing a fig tree by the wayside, he went to it and found nothing on it but only leaves. And he said to it, 'May no fruit ever come from you again.' And the fig tree withered at once. When the disciples saw it, they marveled, saying, 'How did the fig tree wither at once?' And Jesus answered them, 'Truly I say to you, if you have faith and do not doubt, you will not only do what has been done to the fig tree, but even if you say to this mountain, be taken up and thrown into the sea, it will happen. And whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith.'"
So as we think about the fig tree, why would Jesus curse that fig tree? As I read, just some thoughts, there's the idea here that as Jesus approaches this tree, he's hungry. He sees the tree has leaves, but when he gets close, there's no fruit. So it's a tree that is producing fruit, or producing leaves, promises fruit, but there is no fruit there. So the tree is kind of deceptive. And so this idea of it being fruitless is the picture of, I think, of what the Jewish state of worship was in that place. Going to the temple was an empty thing. It was a fruitless thing. It had the appearance of life, but there was no fruit. And I think the other key thing that we looked at and thought about and talked about was that sometimes this idea of blessing and cursing is not the same as what we think of. It's not that Jesus cursed it in the sense of saying you are bad. Rather, what he was doing was, the curse was, he was observing the condition of that tree. And because that tree was not bearing any fruit, that's when he caused it and spoke to it. And through his power, made it wither. And it says that it withered immediately. So really what Jesus was saying is, here's making a picture of, I've been in the temple and cleansing the temple of all the bad things that are going on there. And now as we come to Jerusalem, he's talking to the disciples and saying, here on this Monday, as he comes into the city of Jerusalem, here's a fig tree with leaves appearing that it should bear fruit, but it didn't bear fruit. It's a picture of this temple that is void of true worship.
Right. And kind of what I see here, I'm trying to imagine what was on Jesus' to-do list for this week. He knew he was winding down. He knew there was just a few days left, and he was making those deposits of teaching and truth to his disciples each and every day. And today he talked to them about prayer. Prayer matters, and prayer is powerful, and it starts with belief in who he is and what he can do, and having faith to thank him in advance, even before we see the answers. And I think that is huge. That's something he wanted to leave them with, is don't forget to pray. There's power in prayer. It demonstrates your faith, and just believe, and you are going to see things that will make you marvel the way these disciples marveled at that fig tree withering at once.
So those are our thoughts for today. Cursing of the fig tree. Have a great Monday. We will be back tomorrow, and we'll continue every day throughout this week, just pointing out a little highlight of what Jesus did during his last week here on earth.
Have a wonderful day.